All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. As I mentioned before, I am running solo today, so it's just me, no Kyle. He is on vacation, enjoying some nice fresh air, and so it's just going to be me. Please put any questions into the Q&A section that you have throughout the webinar here so that I don't have to talk the entire time and hopefully answer some questions. I'm going to be putting in some links there as well. One of which is going to be the slides for this webinar. So I'm going to do that right now. This is the webinar slide. So let me send that to everybody. Webinar slides coming at you. Okay, hopefully those are coming to everybody. Oh, yep, I sent it multiple times because it kept sending. So again, this is going to be my first time doing everything all by myself. Here, I'm also going to be sending everybody is registering for the next event. We're going to have another one of these events next in 2 weeks. That one is going to be all about, I believe, our online registration with Gallus Tournament Wizard. So that's going to be a good one there. And then I'm going to put these all at the end as well, but that way I don't have to remember to do these later. This is to our knowledge base article about news items that we're going to talk about today. And finally, this is a booking link for myself if you want to book a time with me individually to go over anything we talk about. So now that we're starting off here, what this whole series is about, if you missed the last one, this is basically a deep dive, hopefully 30 minutes or less, quick and easy, all about one topic about your app. We're going to get to some specific examples, go through some explanation of what it's for, and also some of the newer features about some of these items in your app that you may or may not know about that we've updated in the recent past. So we got 30 minutes left. Hopefully this will inspire you to think of something that you guys can do. A lot of these are just, what other clubs are doing right now and examples that work for them. So it may work for you, it may not. Really, it's just to kind of get you going. And then also we're going to be recording this, which I am right now, and sending this out later on today once it is ready to upload. And we will send that out and have that available for you guys to watch again and again if you need to, or send it to your staff for them to get some ideas as well. So without further ado, we're going to get into the background, some creative ideas, scheduling, news items, and then a note about what links to put in there, and then some Q&A. So feel free to do some Q&A throughout the entire thing. I'll try to reach out if there's anything I can answer quickly. If not, I'll get to them at the end of the webinar as well. So without further ado, some background all about news today. So what is a news item? So a news item is something that lives in your app. Most recent displays at the top of the home screen. So basically it was what we call a featured news item. It goes above all the other buttons on your app itself. This is a great thing that pops up and you can change on a regular basis. All of the rest of the news appear in either in the news button, which can be found on the home screen if you have it enabled, or in your side menu, which is almost always enabled there. And it's also found in the all news section when you click on any news item up in the upper right as well. So this is kind of like a news feed. All your current news that aren't expired live right there. So of the news, as you can see on the left-hand side, it consists of 3 basic content. There is an image at the very top that you can upload. You can upload your own image. You can put in a lot of stock images that we have there. We have food and beverage ones. We also have golf-related ones, some that are, look like somebody's giving a lesson. We have a whole bunch of stock ones there that you can use, but feel free to upload your own. If you have trouble uploading them, we recommend a 4:3 format, and I can also help. I've been helping people trying to find the best way to make your images fit in there. So I have a pretty nifty way of doing it that I can kind of run you through if you need help with that. Then it consists of, in the green there, where it says Callaway Demo Day and Fitting Saturday. That is the title, quote unquote, of the news item. So that is going to be kind of the bold portion of it that sticks out the most. And then you have your body underneath, which is the, obviously underneath, it's got the date that you have it active on, and then it has everything else that you want to talk about right there in the body. So you can also just select the date range when it when to display the news item. So that includes when you turn it on, so when it becomes active. So you can set these up ahead of time so it starts showing you exactly when you want to, not just when you create it. But then also you also have now an expiration date that it can turn off automatically. So you don't have old news sitting there. So you only have the most current news that you want to be there. So if you have an event that's already passed, you don't want to be showing and telling people all about it because they've missed it. So you want to have that expire and get off of your, quote unquote news feed so that you only have the most recent and it doesn't clog up and look like you haven't updated it. So it's something you can do now automatically by putting in an expiration date. And you can also make that news, like we talked about a little bit earlier, a feature news item. So you can only have one feature news item at the top of your app on the home screen at a time. But what's nice is you can have one that is the one that you have kind of featured all the time that doesn't expire. And then your newest, if you create a new item, the newest featured item is the only one that's going to show. And if you have an expiration date on that one, say for only a week, because it's just an event that happens this next weekend, once it expires, it defaults back to that other one that you had in there, as long as it's still enabled as a featured news item. So a little bit of automation that we've added recently to make it so you don't have to go back in and turn things off the day after an event or things like that. So enables and disables item on the home screen. So now we're going to get into some creative ideas of how to use the news items. These are, again, not the only way to use it. These are just some of the most basic ways. The first kind of things I'm going to talk about are the most common things that people use it for. And then I'm going to get into some, what I like to call pro tips. That's what this whole webinar is about. Some kind of advanced features that not everybody will be able to do or want to do, but it's, gives you some other things to think about. So the very first one that I'm going to jump into is the most obvious: upcoming events and outings. Anytime you have an event or something that you want to let people know about, put it at the top as a featured news item so they can see it. What's really nice is you can also create a registration link that we'll get to next week, a little foreshadowing for our next week, in our Gallus Tournament Wizard, if you have that, that people can register immediately for that event, whether it is for an actual golf outing or even people use that registration links for wine tasting, whiskey tasting, other events as well, golf camps, everything you can think of that way. So if you have a registration link, whether it's through us or through your own website or just a Google form or whatever it may be, that's a great place to put that link so people can sign up immediately without you having to, have them email you or do anything else. So just just information about when the event is, who to contact if they want to join, all of that stuff. So that's probably the most basic thing that most people use it for, and kind of the easiest. And this is something that you do want to make sure that you put in an expiration date, that it's not going to stay in there after the event is over. That way it is out of there and no longer there. Monthly club specials. This is a great time to talk about, if you are using our offer locker, which we will get to in the coming weeks as well. The offer locker is something that you can point to and talk about all the new offers that you have available or just specials you have in the pro shop. It can also be, a lot of clubs use this for food specials. Whether you have a food of the day, the week, or an upcoming event, like a Mother's Day brunch or something like that, it's a great time to talk about your food specials and any specials you have going on, golf related or not, food and beverage as well. Another great one that I've seen a lot of people use is a monthly newsletter. If you already have a monthly newsletter that you're sending out via email, a lot of times those emails get lost. They get buried, or people, they get them all the time, and they might just always just kind of put them in their archive or throw them away, not really looking at them. This is another way to reach people with the same content. I'm going to show you a way in just a second how you can easily even just copy and paste the email format that you have, or just take the content that you have and just update it. And that way you only have to update it once a month. It makes it a little bit easier. So you're not constantly updating the news item. You basically just have to update it at the beginning of each month with all the new events that are coming up or things that you want to highlight anyway that you already are putting together in a newsletter, and just put it in the top of your app so other people can see it in a different way. So that's one easy way to put that. We have a lot of clubs that have their monthly newsletter as their always constant featured news that doesn't expire, that just gets updated monthly, and then any other current events or specific items they want for that week or couple days overwrites that for that time period. So that is monthly newsletter. And another one is membership opportunity, talking about especially upcoming memberships this time of year when you're selling memberships, trying to make sure that all your memberships sell out for the year. If you are a facility that has memberships, obviously, this is the best time to highlight that, you have them available, what the prices are, where to click to get, information about it, where to click to pay for them. All of that, you can have links right in the news item, right underneath, just like in the example on the left where it says click here to learn more. So this is a great opportunity just to remind people, hey, this is happening right now. Get them while they're still there, especially if you have a limit on how many memberships you sell every year. So those are all kind of the basic, easy stuff. Obviously, you can use it for anything else, but I'm going to now jump into a couple of things that are a little bit more heavy, but also work really well depending on how you're going to be using the app for as well. So again, there's no questions, which I'm glad I don't see any yet, but if you guys have any, please feel free to put those in there. So that way I can answer them near the end of the webinar as well. So the next couple ones, this is one is going to be a little bit more intense for some users if you're not wanting to update the app on a daily or regular basis. The monthly newsletter is nice because you only have to do it once a month. It makes it a little bit easier, but we have a lot of clubs that update their course conditions every single day. This is great. It's very simple to do because all you're doing is really editing the news item and just changing if it does, the conditions do change. Any other superintendent notes, you can put the super's notes right there, have the super update this. You can have an intern update this in your pro shop, some tech savvy young intern or part-time person that may, want to try to do more in your club and get more, get in your good graces by doing some more stuff. This is a great thing to give them, is just doing the course conditions. Some clubs even put their pin placements of the day there. But what's really nice is once you get people used to seeing the course conditions updated on a daily basis, you can also then start putting other information below it. So you can start highlighting other specials or things going on, because people, if they're checking it on a regular basis, now you have them trained to see that. And then below that, you can now also highlight anything else you want as well. So it's just kind of a great thing if you can get into doing it and get doing it on a regular basis. It is a great thing, but it takes a little bit more time and effort. It's not time consuming. It's just remembering to do it every morning. Another great thing on the left, as you can see, is using it kind of as your news feed to kind of replace your Facebook news feed. A lot of people have on their website and things like that. If you're trying to get away from Facebook, like I know some clubs have contacted me about, this is a great place because you can have just the items that you want on the left-hand side. It can be everything that you want that's just current, and then take out all the old stuff that you don't want in there anymore. So one thing that you can do is have, COVID procedures in there. You can have other things that about what's going to happen at the club, about memberships for next year, upcoming maintenance at the club, anything you want to put, but you can basically also use it as more of like a blog as well. Have all your blog entries, link videos. If you do videos with your Golf Pro, anything like that can be put in this section. And like on the left-hand side here, this is what it will look like, all of your items all in one place. And you can update it with, making sure that you're making the news, the most current news you want people to see. So it's your control. Another thing that you can do is I've seen a lot of clubs use this as reminders to have people enable push notifications. Most clubs average about 40 to 50% of their active users have enabled push notifications, so they can get those pushes right to their phone on top of all their other content and everything else they're doing with their phone. It's nice to get a little bit more than that. We've seen some clubs that are as high as 65, 70%. And a lot of it is because, one, they're sending out good content on a regular basis, but two, a lot of it is they are gently reminding people when they download the app and, using the news items as a way to remind them how to turn them on if they haven't. So it's not the most intuitive, easiest thing to do, but it's, you can explain how to go to the My Profile section in the app and show people how to enable it, or go into the settings of their own phone. This is also great if you've added any member levels or types, player type. We have some clubs that you can put custom ID fields, so that when you're sending out push notifications, you can basically toggle between a member, a non-member, or like a public player and a member. But you have to have those people opt into that in their profile. So again, you can just go to your profile and select what player type you are. If you're in a men's league, that way it's easier for you to send the right information to them. So this is just a great place to put that so that people can see that and know how to get to that. The last thing, and this is something that I'll touch upon once we get to push notifications in one of our later webinars as well, is have a landing page for your push notifications. Push notifications, once you send them and you have the information in there, whether you're sending out, hey, we have this event, or we have, call us now to book a tee time, and you put a phone number, once they click on that push, it is gone and they cannot see it again. So any information pertinent that you want them to have and be able to click or do anything, whether it's emails, phone numbers, links, have a landing page. First, create a news item that has all the same information that you're putting in that push, and have that push, the action item, be to open up the app and go directly to that news item. So when when they click on it, it'll go right there. It'll have a picture, the title, and then all the links and all the information they need. But then what's really nice is that everybody else that doesn't opt it in to get a push, like all those other 50% of people like most clubs have that aren't getting those pushes, it'll be at the top of their home screen when they log in the next time, and they'll be able to see it too. So then more people get to see the same information that you're already sending out. So this is probably the number one thing that I would recommend doing if you are sending out a push, is using it for a landing page for your push. And then it can live as a news item in your news feed as well, so that people can see that information later. So that is just kind of a very pro move to basically have a landing page for your push notifications for people to see. So, all right, those are a lot I went through in just a short amount of time. I'm trying to get through this very quickly. Without Kyle here, this means I'm doing everything. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is scheduling. Actually, not the last thing, last couple things. Scheduling news items. So why is it important to schedule news items? Well, a lot of news items are, time sensitive. So you might think, okay, I don't want people to see this until this time, but I also don't want to see them after this time because the event's over. So when's the first and last day I would want somebody to see this in my app and not have them think this is old news, or why is this here? This is not relevant to me right now. So if it's too early, it's a bad thing. And if it's too late, it can be a really bad thing. So, examples of time sensitive news we've kind of talked about, especially upcoming events. Once that event's over, don't have that news item in there unless you want it to be there to show people what you've done in the past. Some clubs like to have them in there for like a short amount of time, like till the end of the month, to have people see it and be like, oh, I missed that. Maybe next time I'll try to, go to that event. But other than that, more than a month is a little long. So it's really up to you. But again, most clubs don't have it in there more than, after the event, basically. Course condition updates. Obviously, you don't want to have course condition updates from 3 weeks ago. It shows that you're not updating it. It's better to be consistent and do something. If you're going to update it once a day or once a week, do it the same, but try not to do too much. If you're trying to do too much and then you slip and you stop doing it, people are going to notice that and then stop trusting it and not go to be checking it on a regular basis. So course condition updates are a big thing. If you are going to start to try to do it, make sure that you have somebody responsible and a couple backups to do it. Membership specials, again, you don't want people to see the specials or any other specials that you have going on after they're done, because they might get mad that it's over, that they missed it. So again, the last day that something, a special expires, have it turn off. Updated procedures, how to entry and exit the facility, COVID procedures, all that kind of stuff. If you've updated anything, and obviously if you now aren't doing that, turn it off so that people don't think that they still have to do that. And then schedule all your news items now and allow them to appear and disappear throughout the year. So this is the best time of year to kind of set up, if you already know certain events are going to happen and you already know you're going to be doing certain things or having certain specials. Do it now during the, quote unquote, slow season for most of you out there. And then basically you don't have to do as much work during the season when it's busy, and you don't have to remember to do it. It just automatically does it. We have a lot of automated features, including push notifications, offer locker. Almost everything is now somewhat automated where you can turn it on and off in the future, so you don't have to do it all at the exact same time that you actually need it for. So to add an expiration date, simply fill in the expires on field. If you have news items that were already in there before we did this update a few months back, basically all you have to do is go in, there's now an expires field, and you just fill that in. If you want it to expire, then it's in there. You can save it then and update it if you like. If you've already updated a picture that you like and you're just going to change the content, just push the active on date to a newer date, and now it looks like a new news item. So you don't have to actually delete it and start a whole new one. So you can use them as templates once they expire. That's why it's good to have them expire, not just delete them, so that they're in there. You can see what you've used and kind of just copy and paste what you've already done. So Yes, that's a bonus. Just they're already in there. So grab them for next year. Just change the date, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel there. So makes it really easy there. So now this is some pro level links. I got a couple minutes left to talk about this. This is something that not everybody's going to do, and don't worry about this. This is something that also I can go over with you individually. I've done this with a lot of clubs recently. Some of these are using HTML now in the news body. Our news body is HTML ready. So meaning that you can put HTML links, you can put pictures that are housed on websites that basically load the pictures for you. You can do a whole bunch of different stuff. Basically, like I said earlier, if you already have a newsletter that is already formatted in HTML format and you have that code, you can put it in there. As long as it's a mobile friendly one, it will look okay. Sometimes it doesn't. You have to might switch the formatting depending on how it is. But essentially, you can also put in links. If you put in a link like www.google.com, it will show up as clickable. If you put in a phone number, it'll be clickable even now, if you just type it in the normal way. But if you want it to be clickable without showing the full URL, if you have a really long URL that looks really, really bad and it's just a lot of letters and numbers, instead you can change it to click here, like the words click here, and then it goes to wherever you want it to go. So what you want to do is, insert the HTML code into the body instead of the actual link. And this is one way to do it. I'm going to put it in here. Is you basically put in the href equals, and then the URL right there. And then the link text is what is actually going to display there for the link. So for example, right below here, this says click here to register now. That's what's going to show up in the body of the email when somebody sees that news item, not the full manager.gallusgolf.com/yada, yada, yada. So again, pro level move, because you have to know at least how to copy and paste this into your news body. Not super difficult. Something I've been using on a regular basis that works really well. I've shown a bunch of clubs and they seem to like it. You can Google search any free HTML editor or HTML creator as well. One that I use that's free, that's just simple and works really well for me, is called word2html.net. It's essentially, you can create however you want to format your news item like a Word document. You can change the font size, you can change the color, you can add links, you can add images, you can add videos, you can do whatever you want, just like you're writing it in a Word document, and it creates that HTML code for you right there on the fly on the same screen. You copy and paste that HTML code into the news body and it does it for you. Something super simple. That way you can get more images, more colors, more everything out of your news items and not make them just plain and with a bunch of long links in them. So that is just what I'm going to leave you with. Again, a little bit of a deep dive there, probably our deepest dive we've done so far. But if you need more questions or want to go through that with me individually, that link that I put in there that lets you do that is right there. Yeah, it's word2html.net, Kevin. Yes. So we're going to get to the Q&As right now. I have a couple questions. So word2html.net, Kevin, is yes, it's right there. And I'm going to, went all the way to the back. Hold on, went too far. Let me get this. Yeah, it's just word2html.net right there. This will be in if you download the slides, it's right there. But if you just type that in, that's how you get there as well. So Hebert has a question. If I've got old news items from a while back that aren't applicable anymore, do you think it's best to just delete them? Is there any archived option? Yes. So Anna, absolutely. That's what we talked about. Basically, if you just make them expire as of yesterday or any other day in the past, they'll show up in your news feed as expired with a big red tag saying expired. But that way you can use them basically as an archive and reuse them again. All you have to do to push them forward is change now the active on date to a recent date, to something like today or tomorrow or anytime in the future, and it basically pushes it forward. So if it's old content that you're never going to use again and you don't like the pictures, just delete them and get them out of there. But if it's something that you might want to reuse, I would definitely reuse them that way, and just keep them, because you can keep as many as you want in your news item. You can have hundreds in there if you want. Question. This is from Thomas. Do you email out this presentation as a future reference? Absolutely. So I did put that at the very top. One of the links I did put, the very first one, the webinar slides, that is the slides, exactly what I just went through. So you can download that and have the slides. It has all of these have links in it. So all the links that I put in here, the word to html.net, plus this next slide has our help articles and book a review call with myself as well, is all right there. So that is there for your reference. Plus we will be sending out to everybody that went to this webinar and everybody else that registered that couldn't make it, a recording of this webinar as well. Kevin, you got it. I'm glad you got it. And Thomas says, thank you. Let me check. That's it. All right. Any other questions? We got a couple minutes. We got a couple more minutes before the end of the webinar. Everybody seems to be having no questions. It's fantastic. Well, thank you guys, everybody, for joining me again. This has been a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to the next one. Kyle will be back, so you won't have to deal with just me going forward. He might have to do one all by himself too, because I might take vacation sometime. So we'll see, but probably not in the next couple of weeks at least. So I'll see you guys all next time. And thanks again for joining me today. Have a great day, everybody.